So guys, I actually wanted to break down exactly how I lost a client. Now on this channel, I've always tried to be authentic with you guys, transparent as possible. And I don't just want to document the wins as well, because I've had a couple of wins. I've still got some wins to show you as well in this video, to be fair. But I want to document actually how I actually lost a client. I'm not doing this out of spite or anything like that. I'm not doing this to get back at the client or anything like that. In fact, I'm not even going to mention the client's name too much. In fact, I'm not going to mention it at all their details too much. I'm just going to give you the overall gist of it and show you where I went wrong and what you can do to avoid this basically. So let's jump into this. So guys, welcome back to the channel. Montel Golden here. If you guys are new, by the way, make sure you drop a like, comment and subscribe. Make sure you hit on that notification bell so you can actually, did I just say hit on? Yeah, you know what I mean. Turn on that notification bell, guys, so you can actually get notified for when I drop a new file upload to the channel. So guys, look, I was working with a client not too recently. I actually closed them around like 3 weeks ago, but as soon as I closed them, I kind of knew it was a mistake. Now look, I have a very systemized type of business. Here's how I like to run the business. I use acuity scheduling with Zoom, so you can book in certain calls with me. I have client strategy session calls, I have discovery calls on there. I have all sorts of different calls on there, like coaching calls and whatnot, but we won't talk about that because that's about, like, you know, my personal brand. So look, this client, right, was actually a referral from a good friend. My friend, if you're watching this, thank you for the client. Next time I will do better. I'll handle it more professionally and whatnot. Not to say that I didn't handle it as professionally as I possibly could, but there's certain things I don't do in my agency. I just don't run like that, and I break those down in a second. So look guys, with me, I don't use my mobile phone. In fact, if you look back on my channel, if you look at my Instagram, I am notoriously known for very slow replies when it comes to my mobile phone, if replies at all. I am not a person you just call out of the blue. I protect my time. In fact, I was reading a book today by Dan Kennedy, literally this morning. It's now Friday when I'm recording this. This happened on Wednesday, by the way. I'm reading a book right now, and it literally again confirms already what I should have known. Well, I did know this, but it was like I went out of my way to close this client the way how they wanted to be closed, and it still backfired. And the funny thing is, guys, I actually recorded the actual initial call, and before I had that initial call, I actually recorded myself saying, look, I don't know why I'm actually doing this. And this was almost like an internal video. I may release this, I may not, probably not. If I do, I'll probably have to cover a person's name and whatnot. But look, I actually recorded a video of me before I actually picked up my mobile phone and called this person. Bear in mind that I was actually on a phone detox at this time, so I was using my phone for less than 45 minutes per day. And when I did go on the phone, it was for actually just building my personal brand, Instagram stories and stuff like that, because I know that you guys like to see the behind the scenes of like what it's like to run the agency and what I'm up to on a particular day, and that obviously eats up a lot of time. And I don't like being on my phone because I feel like the phones and like social media is just cancerous. It's terrible. I wouldn't even have a mobile phone if it wasn't for like my personal brand and stuff like that, because I have a camera now and whatnot. I don't need a mobile phone. Mobile phone does not help me in my business. It's actually just my laptop, just Zoom, booking my calls through there. So look guys, I don't use my mobile phone. This is notorious. Everybody knows that. So what happened with this client basically is I was referred this client. I didn't actually reach out to them. Well, I did reach out to them straight away. I gave them my calendar link to actually book in a call, which is what I do with every single one of my clients. I give them my calendar link. If not, they don't click on the link, what I'll do is I'll manually book them in to my calendar and send them like a calendar invite basically. And that's how I handle every single call, and I've done that for the last however long I've been, you know, freaking closing clients. So I've been doing that for a long time now basically. So look, this person comes to me through a referral. This guy, I give him my link. This guy does not want to book a call with me. That immediately rung red flag. It took me a whole month of thinking about this. I'm not even joking, more than 30 days I was thinking about calling this guy. He said, you know, he doesn't do the whole calendar thing, just phone me whenever you're ready. Like that already should give you like that's a red flag right there. If a business owner says, here's my number, phone whenever, I'm available at all times, that should be a red flag. That shows they have no real systems in their business. Again, I'm not trying to cause this client out. They have no real systems in their business and they don't value their time. That should be, if you've read any sort of business book about time management management, any sort of the 4-hour work week, for example. Go read that, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Renegade Millionaire, I'm reading a book right now. That's the book I was reading today, and it confirmed again by Dan Kennedy that you should not operate like this. But look, I thought to myself, you know what harm can it do? This was me thinking, what harm can it do? Let's just go and call this guy and see what business we can drum up here. So I called this guy on my mobile phone. That means he has my number now. That was a huge mistake. I ended up closing this guy. He went through none of my systems. I don't know what it was, but he did not want to click on any links. Like, the onboarding stuff was done over mobile, didn't go through my onboarding process. The expectations weren't set whatsoever. And I actually made a video before all this actually happened. I said I'm going to call him on his mobile, and I knew it was a mistake, but I'm still going to do it anyway, and I'm going to document it. I actually documented it on camera before I actually picked up the mobile phone and dialed the number. You can actually see it live. I might release the video, but whatever, guys. Look, this client, then we ended up working with each other and everything was cool until he started complaining about the content. Now look, we actually was doing, you know, social media management for him, and everything was going kind of smooth. Like, we were literally posting, he had like a vegan brand, and we were posting like food posts, but he was complaining that there were too many food posts for the vegan brand, which was kind of, you know, what do you mean it's too many food posts like for a vegan brand? Isn't that what veganism is all about? I know it's about lifestyle and whatnot and all this other stuff you can put in, but like, that content was actually getting more engagement, and he actually had openly admitted that to me on the mobile phone. See, this guy made me call him like literally every other day or some dumb shit like that, and he was just belling my phone and texting me and stuff like that, not trying to communicate through the like systems. So whenever I have a client, I communicate with them by Zoom. I also have them set up in a Slack channel, and everything runs very smoothly. So there was one day, again, bear in mind, we was posting 4 to 6 times a day, and in my onboarding process I talk about how the content's going to get scheduled out in advance, and you can take a look at the content whether you like it or not. Now bear in mind, and this was actually my fault, I did tell my outsourcer, but this was our fault on our side, on my agency side. There was one post that went out that had a profanity word in it. F-U-C-K, fuck, the word fuck in a meme. It was like a vegan meme, and it said something about, you know, groceries, when you go out to go get groceries, or something about coronavirus, and it said fuck, and there was a guy running back. Listen, that post was not even on his Instagram for more than 2 hours, maybe, probably like two hours or something like that. No real damage was done. In fact, people actually found it funny on the gram. For some reason, he completely kicked off about that, but this was on a Sunday. Now take this back to, this was last week Sunday. On Saturday, I was at a family barbecue. I know you're not supposed to be with family right now, but we was at like a very, very close-knit family barbecue. It was my little brother's 22nd birthday. If he's watching this, shout out to you on your birthday. I then had a few too many brandy and cokes. Look, I'm Jamaican, okay? We like our brandy and cokes. I had a couple brandy cokes. Ended up a little bit hungover the next day, but it was Sunday anyway. I have never, ever worked on a Sunday. I'm never ever worked on a Sunday. I don't go on my computer on a Sunday. I don't go on my mobile phone on a Sunday. I chill, I read books. Sunday is my only day off. I work 6 days a week. I wake up 6:30 every single day. Even Saturdays, I work on Saturdays. And Sundays are my complete day off. That is when I just block out from the world. You can't reach me. I can't reach you. It's not gonna happen, basically. So this guy is, I wake up, my phone's been on from the night before. Normally I turn my phone off and whatnot. In fact, no, normally I have it across the room. But this time I actually went back to my parents' house and actually stayed there because I didn't want to really like drive drunk and stuff like that. So look, I've woke up hungover, and this guy's really like belling down my phone. I'm talking like multiple missed calls. He actually sent me a text saying, bruh, I will continue to call you all day until you pick up. Like, that immediately pissed me off. I was almost in like a little bit of a petty mood. Now look guys, look, when it comes to clients like this, you have to kind of agree with them and just, there's no point arguing. This is what I've learned from this. There's no point arguing. Your client's always right. And I knew this from the beginning, but I just thought, you know, this dude, I've told him multiple times before I even closed him that I always communicate off of my mobile phone in Slack, and I take Zoom calls. This guy did not want to listen, so I gave him my actual Zoom calendar link so he can actually book in, my Acuity calendar link so he can actually book in, and then he ended up ending the contract on Upwork, which was completely fine to me because actually it was like this. Look, as soon as he actually ended the contract, it was like a weight had been lifted off of my shoulders. It actually was a weight off of my shoulders. And then 3 hours later, 4 hours later or something like that, I ended up closing a new client on that same day. So I ended up losing a client and replaced them right away with a new client. That was on Wednesday. So Wednesday I actually lost a client, came back, got a new client. But guys, what can you take from this? It's not just a rant I'm going on here. There's actually a underlying tone here. Look, you see, first of all, when it comes to getting a new client, and I mentioned this in one of my other previous videos, if you don't set the expectations properly, if you don't take them down the right systems, if they don't agree to go down the right systems from the get-go, that should ring red flags for you. Then what you need to do is set the expectation as to how you're going to be communicating with this client, and how and often and when sort of like you work and when you don't work. You need to set those up front, because if you try to set them after they've actually already been texting your mobile phone, and by the way, don't ever give a client your mobile phone. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Don't do that. If they want to communicate with you quickly, use Slack. Be active on Slack. I was active on Slack and whatnot. But look, guys, well, not on Sundays. Sundays you cannot reach me. It's impossible. Sunday is my day off. I'm not in this business to let the business run me. I run my business. I know it's all about the client and giving them what they want. And don't get me wrong, that's not what I'm trying to say. That's not what I'm trying to say here. There are certain systems you need in business though to keep your sanity. You need to keep your sanity. You need to have a business that you run and the business doesn't run you. So me, when it comes to mobile phones, you can't contact me on my mobile phone. I told him this from the very get-go. Told him that all my clients, he actually asked me, how do you communicate with all your clients then? And I actually said to him, I communicate with them all via Slack, and we set up a Slack channel and everything was cool in there. In fact, let me give you actually what happened as well on that same day. I had a client, he's actually another client, we're doing social media management for him too, and he wanted to talk to me on that same day, which was the Monday. I was being bailed out on a Sunday. I didn't actually see that until late Sunday. Then it was Monday. That's when I replied back saying, you know, look, and by the way, my outsourcer actually took care of this, by the way. So when the post went out, there was I had that like one little profanity word. And bear in mind, we was posting like 4 to 6 times a day on this dude's platform. So yes, it was quite easy mistake to make, I guess. But again, unacceptable on our behalf. And I, hold my hands up, full responsibility. I should have been at my brother's birthday and I shouldn't have woke up late and I should have dealt with it and whatnot. But I did, and that's what happened. But my outsourcer was able to fix it really quickly and apologize. And then the next day I actually woke up and I actually was back onto my business systems, replied back like almost immediately saying, you know what, sorry about this. After I do my IPAs, you know what, sorry about this. I've not been active on my phone. We can now start communicating through Zoom. And I actually positioned it in a way that actually was a benefit to him. I actually said to him, look, the reason why this has probably happened is because when you're calling me on my mobile phone, I don't actually have a way to record that. Because here's what I do traditionally, guys. Whenever I have a strategy session or a call with my client or potential clients, I send that same recording to my actual outsourcer. He watches that so he can see word for word what this client said, how they've said it, and how they've stressed a certain point and what tonality they used on a certain point. So he understands the seriousness and severity, if that's how you pronounce a word, of a particular point that he's trying to make. So with a normal phone call, you can't do that. You can't record it. You can't share your screen. You can't do any of this. This is why I don't use a mobile phone. And it's not like I'm trying to be petty and say I don't use it. I genuinely have not used this mobile phone for a long time. In fact, I don't even turn my mobile phone on until 1 p.m. each and every day. And when I do, I'm on it less than 45 minutes. And I'm actually on a detox right now where I'm using it even normally I used to use it around 2 hours a day. Then I dropped it to like 45 minutes a day, and I've been quite good at managing that. But anyway, my outsourcer fixed the problem, apologized profusely, still was not happy, still was texting my phone, still was belling me down. This is what I don't like, when they're trying to bell you, text you, and run you like that. It's not even an ego thing. I just feel like it's quite disrespectful, especially when I've already told him that like my phone is not the place to communicate with me. Slack's where you communicate with me. This guy messaged me on all sorts of platforms, my Instagram and everything. So I don't really believe you should give your clients like your mobile phone. But again, it's my fault. I could have handled it probably more professionally. If you guys want to cuss me out as well, you can if you want. But me personally, I run my business a certain way, and that's how I want it to be run. That's how I was taught from some of the best marketing agencies on planet Earth. That's how you run the agency. You don't give your clients your mobile phone. I'm talking about agencies that are doing lots of profit in a month. I'm talking like 70k, 80k, 100k a month, all that sort of shit. Even just look at other business owners. They protect their time. You can't just call them out of the blue and expect to reach them. So guys, look, it's not an ego thing. It's just a way of how I just run the business. The problem was fixed. The next day I profusely apologized, said it would never happen again, and I was ready to just move on then, and he was still telling me, you still haven't called me, and at that point I was just like, look, this client is going to be a headache. Like he was a bit of a headache before, to be fair. He was the client who was giving us the most stress out of all of our clients, and then I looked at it and I was like, wait a minute, this dude's giving us the most stress out of all of our other clients, and he's the only dude that's not gone through the proper systems, the proper onboarding. That can't be a coincidence. So I said to him, from now on, I'm not going to be active on my phone. I'm just not active on that. I didn't even say I told you this before. I literally just said, look, what we're going to do from now on is communicate via Slack. Via Slack and via Zoom. here's my calendar link, just book in a quick call and we can have this sorted out ASAP. Literally gave him ample opportunity to book in. He did not book in. He was still trying to get a phone call, which my phone was off. I've got things to do, coaching calls at certain times. And it's not like I'm just saying this because it sounds cool to have a calendar. No, the calendar keeps me on track. I have coaching calls to do. I have other sales calls to do. I can't just dial in and just expect me not to do a coaching call, for example. And again, one of my other clients was a strategy session. They booked in within the next, while all this was going on, instead of him just booking a call, which he should have done, which is what my client did. My client literally just came through. The other client literally just came through, booked a call with me, had a strategy session while all this was going on. So we literally, by the time he was, still talking about calling my mobile phone up, me picking up, he could have had a friggin' strategy session already. But anyway, guys, look, probably a little bit unprofessional how I handled it. To be fair, I did try to explain the benefits of, look, I was like, we communicate via Zoom. The reason why these mistakes happened is probably because there was a miscommunication. The miscommunication came from the fact that we can't review each call back after and see certain points. Now, I forgot to mention, he did actually give us a branding guideline that said in bold capitals, no profanity. But again, this is my fault because I didn't actually check the content previously that was scheduled by my outsourcer, so I missed that on that one particular day where I thought I could take a day off because it's my little brother's birthday. Again, that's my fault. Should have handled it better. And again, if you have a client like this, guys, you want to set expectations from the beginning. Don't leave them in the dark, I guess. Definitely don't leave your clients in the dark. Make sure they understand how they can communicate with you and make it very clear from the beginning. But guys, look, I ended up closing another client after that. And to be fair, the client that I lost, and this is how you know it was meant to be. Like, as soon as I the contract was ended, it was like a sigh of relief. Like, I'm not even joking. No offense to the client, but it was a sigh of relief. It was a bit of a headache. Just didn't follow any system. Just thought he could phone me on like a Sunday, on bank holiday, Monday and shit like that. That's not gonna really work for me, to be honest. I communicate via Slack, and I have never, ever once had a problem with any client like this before, ever. And what all those other clients have in common that he didn't is that they all went through the same system. They all went through the communication in Slack using Zoom, and we've never had a problem once, ever. So that goes to show you that this is the one client I decided to fuck it and just call him, and he ends up with my mobile phone, and that's when shit just turned sour, to be fair. But anyway, guys, look, I want to document all the shit on this channel, not just the wins, the losses as well. But guys, look, hope you've enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.